It's the SNES.
The Super Nintendo is one of the best-selling home consoles of all time at nearly 50 million units sold worldwide. And in case you're not good at the alphabet, that's a lot. But why did it sell that well? Well, that's because the Super Nintendo is home to some of the best titles ever produced, period. That being said, it wasn't easy making a list of the top 10 best, but I figured a top 10 SNES list is practically inevitable by anyone who makes video game videos, so I might as well do it now. Just one rule though, one title per series, otherwise I think I'd be here all night making this list. Also, for those of you wondering, yes, I still have more animations on the way. I really don't get much free time anymore because of college, and it's not like I'm really that viral anyway, so I wouldn't really say it's a top priority of mine. But I thought you guys definitely deserved a new video to hold you over until my new animations come out. But in any case, hey, I'm SilokHawk, and this is my top 10 Super Nintendo games.
Number 10. SUPEREARTH Defense Force.
You know, I never hear anyone talk about this game. I mean, do you know about this game? Yeah, neither does anyone else. But here, let me catch you up to speed. Super EDF is a space shooter that was originally released in the arcades in 1991, but was later ported to the Nintendo in 1992. Though surprisingly enough, this is one of those rare cases where the console port is actually better than the arcade counterpart. Yeah, pretty impressive. Awesome soundtrack, multiple weapon choices, perfect difficulty,
and that parallax scrolling.
My name? Why yes, it's heart, smiley face. Did you know there was once a time where licensed games weren't complete shit? It's true. Before your Mary-Kate and Ashley's and Cory in the House you had kick-ass games like Goof Troop, DuckTales, and my number 9 pick, Mickey Mouse's Magical Quest. Giving a movie or television license to a big company such as Capcom is something that is just unheard of by today's standards. But hey, clearly the guys who made this obviously knew a little something about game design. So what makes Magical Quest so special? Well, it's got a hella vibrant and appealing art direction, game mechanics feel and flow very nicely, and later in the game, you even get superpowers! Pew pew! Also, can we just take a moment to address the story? So Goofy and Mickey are playing catch in a park when Mickey completely fails to catch the ball. Seriously, look, he doesn't even try. Fucking like, oops. Pluto runs after the ball, and after being off the screen for like 2 seconds, he's suddenly deemed lost. Like, where the f*** did he go? What, did he run into some interdimensional portal that was 4 inches off the screen? So then Goofy totally fucks with Mickey because he's just all like, oh, don't worry, I'll help you find Pluto. And then he moonwalks away in the complete opposite direction Pluto ran in. Friendship. Anyways, Mickey goes running after Pluto because he remembers Goofy is a complete idiot, and then he literally just runs right off the cliff.
And that's the start of our grand adventure.
Brilliant, 10 out of 10, 5-star, A+.
Number 8. Super Mario Kart.
Before Mario was driving on walls, flying through airports, and parachuting through space, I guess, he had his humble beginnings on the Super Nintendo. Using
Mode 7
to replicate a pseudo 3D perspective on the racetracks, Super Mario Kart was a pretty impressive game when it first debuted. Though admittedly, it really hasn't aged all too well. But like, just don't tell the guy who did the commercial that, because I'm pretty sure he's convinced this is like F-Zero 9000 or something.
Let's go racing! It's Super Mario Kart Funny Car Madness! Only on Super NES! Turn the track into a giant mud pit! Or burn rubber on ice, wood, or asphalt! Fly on mushrooms, banana peels, turtle shells! Dynamite! Too speed! Fast and way too fast! Only for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System! Now when you're playing with power, superpower!
Ooh. Woo!
Number 7. Tetris Attack.
Holy Christ, the hours I have dropped on this game. While I'm not the biggest Tetris enthusiast, I know a good game when I see one, and Tetris Attack is an incredibly good game. But you know, I'm not really sure if I get the whole Yoshi motif they got going on here. Title of the game, Tetris Attack? It doesn't really scream Yoshi. The box art? Nothing to do with Yoshi. Front of the game? Okay, well, it's the same as the box, but you still get the point. Then you turn on the game and it's like, holy shit, Yoshi's everywhere! Seriously, you know how much better this game would have sold if they just would have plastered Yoshis all over that box? The kids just would have been all like, ah, shit, Reptar! And what the f does this have to do with a Yoshi? Even Yoshi doesn't know what the hell's going on. And well, that's because it originally wasn't a Yoshi game. The game was originally known as Panel de Pon in Japan, and featured incredibly creepy blocks that would stare into your soul, or more notably, flamboyant little girls. Because, you know, Japan. However, when the game was released overseas, all the characters within the game were replaced with the more recognizable Yoshi characters. It's sort of funny too, I always thought this game looked hella childish, but then after seeing this...
Tetris Attack, manly game for manly men. Number 6. Chrono Trigger.
I am not a big fan of RPGs, especially turn-based ones, so just the fact I'm putting this on the list really shows how great of a game Chrono Trigger really is. Obviously, the most defining feature of the game is its awesome story, but as far as turn-based combat is concerned, it's actually pretty engaging. I don't know what else to say really, so here's a picture of some puppies. You know, I almost forgot to put this game on the list. Oops. Yeah, I'm one of those weird people that actually like Link to the Past more than Ocarina of Time. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like Ocarina of Time, but there's just something that feels so timeless about Link to the Past, which is fairly ironic considering the game's main gimmick. The game executes a seamless transition between the NES original. As to say, Link to the Past feels like a brand new installment in almost every way possible, but it still keeps a lot of the elements that made the original so great. Hey look, they even kept that weird thing where your boomerang freezes your enemy. Aha! Oh shit, sorry, didn't mean it!
Kirby Superstar.
If you saw my last video, then you already know I love the Kirby series. Recently playing through the games again reminded me of why I adored the series so much. And was it not for the fact I got shit for liking Kirby in middle school, I would have never stopped playing the games in the first place. Nonetheless, I later came to the conclusion of, who cares? If you enjoy something, then why go out of your way to hide your appreciation? Because people might judge you? You can't live your whole life worrying about what people might think of you, because at that point, you're just going to be living someone else's life. And if people are going to be ignorant enough to judge you by something you like, then why should you even care what they think of you? Yeah, the Kirby games might have an excessively kawaii art style that makes the games look like they're designed for 8-year-olds. And yeah, the protagonist is literally a pink circle with a smiley face. But if you can look past that, you have some of the greatest platformers ever made. And Kirby Superstar is one of the best.
MEGAMANX.
Holy shit, where do I begin? Mega Man X is critically acclaimed as not only the best Mega Man game, but one of the best games ever made, period. It's clear to see why, too. You have some of the best level design out of the entire series, kick-ass music, awesome bosses, and the ability to now charge up any of the boss weapons. Plus the addition of the slide ability and wall jumping, which only makes the control feel that much more intuitive.
I love it!
Also, this level has a cool minecart thingy, it's sort of neat.
Number 2.
I really don't think I need to sit here and tell you about Donkey Kong Country, but here I'll do it anyways because yeah. Donkey Kong Country is one of the most impressive titles on the Super Nintendo, especially during its debut. Using pre-rendered 3D models, DKC produced some of the best graphics and animations to be seen on the hardware. In fact, despite what people say, I think the game still looks pretty graphically impressive today. The game was a commercial success and went on to sell over 9 million copies, making it the second best-selling Super Nintendo game of all time. Its success led to 2 sequels on the Super Nintendo, both of which also spotting incredibly high sales. But if I had to pick between the 3, my vote would definitely go to Country 2. Donkey Kong Country 2 has some of the most ingenious level design I've ever seen in a platformer. I mean, on the surface, the Country series has some of the most bland mechanics in a platforming game. The only controls you have is run and jump, which to me is why the series is only that much more impressive. The diversity of the game comes in the level design, not the controls. Mechanically speaking, Rare didn't have much to work with. So to see how much variety each and every level conveys while still maintaining its core mechanics, well, that's some clever design. In addition to the clever design, the game feels notably more darker than the previous installment. While the first title had rich atmospheres with a very happy-go-lucky feel to it, the sequel boasts of more dark and gloomy set pieces, while still managing to have levels with a lot of contrast in the color palette. The game just feels a lot more mature, and as the player, you feel like you're being taken more seriously. And to tie it all together, one of the best soundtracks in a video game to date. Ranging from the upbeat electronic sounds to the orchestral sounding arrangements, it easily has the best soundtrack you'll hear from any Super Nintendo game. I could just go on and on for hours about this game, but for now, just know that Donkey Kong Country 2 is one of the finest platformers that I have ever played, let alone on the Super Nintendo. So Donkey Kong Country is the second best-selling Super Nintendo title of all time, but what is the top-selling game on the console? Do I even have to say it? Super Mario World, functioning as an incredibly successful launch title for the system, did everything a launch title should do: showcase the system capabilities, and more importantly, sell the console. And sell the console it did. Mario World ended up selling a total of 20.6 million copies worldwide, and still holds strong as one of the best-selling games of all time. But it's not on the list. SilokHawk, are you saying you don't like Mario World? No, I didn't say that. I mean, really, are you seeing this shit? I think it's safe to say it's clearly one of my favorite games of all time. You know, I'm pretty good, you know, whatever. But I did make a rule of one title per series, and I happen to like the sequel just that much more. And yes, I know it's commonly just referred to as Yoshi's Island, but it's technically Super Mario World 2. Though, Yoshi's Island only sold 4 million copies in comparison to Mario World's 20 million. So, what do I see in this game that the difference of 16 million people don't? Well, I see a game with some of the most stylistic and impressive pixel art I've ever seen come out of a Nintendo title. An art style that was purposely illustrated to look like a child's crayon drawing, and an incredibly charismatic style at that. I see a game that made full use of the hardware it was developed for, even containing the same Super Effects chip that was used in Star Fox to render full 3D models. I see a game with inspiring and creative level design, very intuitive level design, and probably some of the best bosses in gaming history. But more importantly, I see a game that is just universally fun. A game that can be enjoyed by anyone at any age. Yoshi's Island entitles everything that has made Nintendo so successful in the first place. Timeless games that continue to stay young as we age. Games that will always hold sentimental value to us even as we grow old. And to me, Yoshi's Island isn't just a good game, it's a nearly perfect game. As far as Super Nintendo games are concerned, it's not even close to being the best-selling game of all time. But if you ask me, it has a soft spot in my heart as the best Super Nintendo game of all time. As always, if you liked the video, make sure to leave a like, or even subscribe if you want to see more stuff by me in the future. And if you ever want to find out what I'm working on next, you can follow me on my Facebook page. Again, thank you guys so much. You guys have been incredibly supportive, and I really appreciate the feedback I receive. But until next time, have a good one.